The abrupt announcement from OPEC Plus is sending shockwaves through the whole industry and is expected to cause a shift in the global energy landscape. Prepare yourself as we delve into the most revolutionary new discoveries that are transforming how we view and engage with the energy world. These daring moves have prepared the ground for a possible shock that could change the energy sector's fundamental structure. And this significant choice is already having an impact. We'll focus on how these further cutbacks have caused OPEC's petroleum output to fall at its quickest rate in 3 years, driving Brent crude prices precipitously below target. Investors, experts, and aficionados are all left considering the ramifications as the market responds to these unexpected events. Join us as we explore the energy industry's future and how these greater oil cuts are changing the world's perception of events. So, not too long ago, two of the top oil exporting countries in the world, Saudi Arabia and Russia, further reduced their oil production, which led to an increase in prices. These important players have made major efforts to reduce oil production despite widespread worries about a likely global economic slowdown and potential interest rate increases from the U.S. Federal Reserve. An important member of OPEC, Saudi Arabia, has declared that it will extend its voluntary 1 million barrel per day reduction in oil output into the month of August. Additionally, the idea of extending these cutbacks into August has been raised, highlighting the nation's dedication to market rebalancing. Alexander Novak, the Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, has also announced plans to reduce the country's oil exports by 500,000 BPD in August. In sum, these cuts add up to about 1.5% of the world's oil production and contribute to the 5.16 million BPD that the OPEC Plus alliance has promised. It's important to note that OPEC Plus has already started implementing cuts of 3.66 million BPD, or roughly 3.6% of global demand. This includes the voluntary cuts of 1.66 million BPD, which were initially set in April and are now extended until December 2024, as well as the 2 million BPD reduction that was agreed upon last year. These changes have had a considerable effect on oil prices, driving up Brent crude by 89 cents to $76.30 per barrel. Together, the OPEC Plus alliance, which consists of OPEC members and their allies led by Russia, produces around 40% of the world's crude oil. Due to a combination of weak Chinese demand and rising U.S. oil supply, this coalition has aggressively limited output to drive up prices since November of the previous year. According to a statement from the Saudi Arabian Ministry of Energy, the nation's anticipated output for August 2023 will be around to 9 million barrels per day. This action supports the main goal of the OPEC Plus countries to preserve stability and equilibrium within the oil market and is consistent with Saudi Arabia's role as the de facto leader of OPEC. The second largest oil exporter in the world, Russia, has also agreed to reduce its output by 500,000 BPD, with the goal of maintaining a 9.5 million BPD output from March through the end of this year. These developments highlight the Saudi Arabian and Russian attempts to maintain a stable and balanced oil market in the face of a changing global economic environment. More recently, Saudi Arabia is once again stepping up its game. They are still voluntarily reducing oil production by a staggering 1 million barrels per day, as you may have heard. This cut is a recurring event. No, they're extending it through September, and there are rumors that they may continue it after that or extend it farther. The speakers at the state-run news agency SPA predict that Saudi Arabia's oil production would be close to 9 million barrels per day, BPD, in September. That is almost 75% of their overall production capacity. And the motivation behind their actions will shock you. They're calling it an additional voluntary cut, and it's all a part of their grand strategy to maintain the stability and balance of the oil markets. Russia is currently not one to be left behind. Alexander Novak, the Deputy Prime Minister, stepped in with the announcement that they will also be decreasing their oil shipments by 300,000 BPD in September. The market, too? It's performing its own little dance, too. Following all of this chatter, U.S. oil prices made a showy move, rising 1.6% to $81.05 per barrel. Not far behind, Brent crude increased by 1.5% to $84.50 a barrel. And the action didn't end there. During Friday's trading frenzy, those prices increased even more to $81.72 per barrel and $85.23 per barrel. Can you believe Saudi Arabia has already managed to decrease oil prices once before? In June, they pulled this particular rabbit out of the hat, and now they're doing it once more. Russia has previously committed to reducing its oil production by 500,000 BPD from March until the end of the year. It appears that everyone has joined the energy-saving movement. Oh, and do you recall how OPEC's crude oil production fell as a result of Saudi Arabia's voluntary cuts? Production fell even more in July, reaching a 22-month low of 27.52 million BPD. Keep your hat on because there's more to come. It appears that the figures will continue to decline in August as Algeria joins the party with its own 20,000 bpd voluntary decrease. And just when you think the plot can't get any more complicated, Saudi Arabia delivers another surprise. They announced on August 3rd that their 1 million bpd voluntary reduction will last until the end of September. Because of the continued low levels of oil production, the third quarter is going to be an unpredictable ride. Here's the twist. Experts claim that even if this news is significant, the market hasn't really been shaken by it. Expert at Mizuho Securities Robert Yager recently tweeted that Saudi Arabia's action doesn't precisely align with the US's efforts to reduce inflation. After the Saudi announcement, pump prices in the US even increased to a 9-month high. But hold on, the White House also weighs in. They are eager to point out that since 2022, costs have decreased significantly. In their view, the best way to ensure that the energy markets are friendly, promote economic growth, and maintain reasonable pricing for Americans is to work closely with both energy producers and consumers. Here's a fascinating fact. Saudi Arabia is aiming to balance its budget by reaching the magic price of $81 per barrel of Brent crude. They get the go-ahead on this from the International Monetary Fund. You see, the kingdom unexpectedly found itself in a deficit this year after reporting a surplus in 2022 for the first time in almost 10 years. On the other hand, Russia is also engaging in a little financial dancing. They have their justifications, particularly in light of the situation in Ukraine. Russian oil export revenues reportedly suffered in June, falling from a healthy $13.3 billion in May to little under half of that amount. Oh, and did I mention? OPEC Plus has made it obvious that they want such prices to rise. However, higher interest rates could make things more difficult. The founder of Oilytics, Keshav Lohia, revealed the information and said that the increased rates might make it more expensive to finance the large-scale projects that Saudi Arabia is aiming for. Speaking of OPEC+, Quantum Commodity Intelligence predicts that the group's recent meeting won't generate any controversy. OPEC's production fell by a staggering 900,000 bpd in just 1 month, averaging about 27.79 million bpd. The biggest decline since the pandemic mayhem of 2020 was that. And get this, Saudi Arabia almost delivered on its vow to reduce production by another 1 million barrels per day in order to raise prices, all the while keeping an eye on signs of a US recession. Prices are rising as the world's oil supplies tighten their purse strings. Brent oil just struck a high, rising to over $85 per barrel, the highest level in 3 months. Let's talk numbers now. Saudi Arabia's production was estimated to be 9.15 million bpd in July. Nigeria's oil production, however, experienced a little decline, falling by 130,000 bpd to reach 1.26 million bpd. Their intentions were complicated by a leak at the Forsados petroleum port. Then Libya? They experienced a snag, too, as protesters temporarily halted operations at the Sharara field, causing oil production to drop by 50,000 bpd to 1.1 million bpd. What is Russia now doing? They are assisting Saudi Arabia in stabilizing the market. While they may have previously set their goals on increasing revenue, recent surveillance of oil shipments shows they are reducing back, with exports of slightly under 3 million barrels per day reaching a 7-month low. What are your thoughts on OPEC, and do you think they can overthrow the US dollar? Let me know down below. If you want to continue to learn about business investing and financial education, we have got this video waiting on the screen for you to check out. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.